Escaping Writers Genjutsu. Ready, set, right. Yoish! Welcome back to my Preptober series where I use my writing journal to prep and plan my novel for Nanowrimo. It's a process that brings both attention to the self help journal that I created and helps me test it out and find errors. On a side note, I am very new to this YouTube thing, so things may seem a little jinky with my videos, and you may see that it gradually improves over the course of this series. I am learning, and I thank you for going through this with me. So, let's get started. In this section, we will be setting up the world of your story. If you don't know where to start when creating a world, this is a simple guide. For simple and slightly complex world building, skeletal at best, first we will start with the base, planets, station, and slash or dimensions. If you are creating a story based on the real world, you can pretty much skip this step and move to adding races, animals, governments, and religion. Decide whether things are going to be simple or complex. Simple typically means with one planet or station and no mention of other dimension or multiple planets, station, and dimensions. Races don't typically have subgroups and fall under a specific stereotype. Stereotype. Simple means you don't have much to do. You're either going to use the existing world as a reference and for your story's world without going into too much detail of anything other than the current home of your characters. Complex, on the other hand, deals with multiple planets, dimensions, and slash or space stations. For complex, there's a whole universe to keep track of, or a piece of a universe. Races tend to have subgroups. They aren't confined as tightly to stereotypes as a simple world structure is. If complex and simple was on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 would be simple and 10 would be complex. 2 through 9 would be a combination of simple and complex. Here's the guide. Complex and a simple story world examples. Here's some examples. Divergent series, Twilight, The Hunger Games, 2 through 9, a simple, complex blend of world building. Ready Player One, So You Want to Be a Wizard series. Lord of the Rings, Percy Jackson series. And then a 10 complex world building would be something like Star Wars, Dunes, Mass Effects, and so and so. In this guide, both simple and complex start out the same. Complete simple first, and if you need more, move on to complex. Now, here is where I found an error in my journal. My world, my story has a setup of complex, but it's kind of tedious to fill in the main planet of the story as Earth when so it's I would typically, if you have your main planet as Earth, I would typically skip the fill in of the simple world and just move on to a complex add on. So I may adjust this journal to accommodate for that. But yeah, I just put in the name of the planet Earth and all that stuff. It's weird makeup, some other stuff. I added an extra custom landmark, which is specific to my story, and I just filled it in to work well with all that stuff. Races living on the world. For my story, it's humans, which and 100% of them are female due to an issue. No synthetics or anything. Typical animals. I didn't fill that in. Typical vegetation, um, earth. I didn't fill any of that in because all of that is common knowledge because it refers to where we currently live. So I'm skipping simple world. So simple world building prep complete. If you need to add another home world with its own set of races, species, and vegetation, continue on to the complex add-on. If not, move on to the races and religions. So this is where I added extra stuff, extra details, the complex add-on, because there is another planet in my story that makes a show. So I spent the time filling out filling out this section of the journal. I generated planet names, found ones that I like, um, went through planet's Earth current make planet makeup, and then adjusted it to make a whole new planet makeup, a home world makeup for this other race that I have created. So I went in, did the planet makeup, all the stuff, everything that's there. It's made up of 30% of water, rock, and 60% rock, 10% soil. It has absolutely no magic. It has the basic minerals and other stuff, minerals and metals and gases needed to sustain life. It has nature landmarks, seasons, continents, and stuff like that. Of course, some of this stuff is skewed, and in its current state, it really has close to none of these. But before, it has all this stuff. So I'm looking at the before. So I set up the day and night cycle, timekeeping system, calendar system, the special days, you know, and then I added the race and its subgroups. So there's just one particular race on this planet, but I added multiple subgroups, which I made sure to give myself an ideal of what the hell they are because I would forget. So when I come back, I'm gonna flesh them out later when I get to the race section. And then I went on to the animals. Now, I did not fill these out. And it states here name important ones that the races use to survive, for traveling and other essential needs. Often, animals and bugs can be made up as written, so don't feel the need to fill up the page. But logically, you like to think of different types that'll make an appearance in your story: flying types, infestation types, pets, rodents, water type, food, animals that provide materials, grazers, so and so. Think of the animal kingdom and the cycle of life and how it works well. So I thought about the way my story was planning. I was planning on having my story flow, and I ended up writing down three animals that make an appearance in the story. While there will be more, I intend to make them up on the spot as like I have, and I'll mark once I make them up, I'll mark them down, write down their whole description and everything. But I'm not about to go through the process of doing it because there's a chance that I may never use them and it's just wasted time. But I know for a fact that I plan on using these three I have written down. And vegetation on the world, the Azor bloom and the magnesium trees. And their planet is has a lot of magnesium. So I made it so that it's incorporated into the vegetation, which is the trees. So, and the Essor bloom is the flower that helps them keep track of the time, their timekeeping flower. So I know that these two are going to make an appearance. Any other vegetation I am not quite aware of yet and will probably just end up making up on the spot. And then there's a history dump of the world. If there's history in the world that you plan on providing in your story, then this is where you
And
would
that's
dump
it for this
most of the
session.
information on it and
Next
then
session
flesh
in
it
the
out
journal
later.
is magic
But I
system.
don't have
However,
it. It is
I do not
unnecessary to my
have the
story,
magic
so
system in this
I just
story.
skipped it.
So I will be skipping this section and moving on to race. I appreciate those watching. Please like and subscribe and press the notification button to be notified when the next video comes out. I also have a Discord server and writers are welcome. Stop by and say hi. It's called the Writers Genjutsu Escape, and we would love to see you there. The link is in the description. Thanks again for tuning in. I will be posting my process prepping for NaNoWriMo to the end of October. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Yoish!